What up, guys? Welcome to the Sound Centric podcast. I'm Samuel Sarfo.
I'm Adam Dash.
Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode. Adam sent me the last minute info that the Apple wrap up is here. I dropped everything. Make sure to go ahead and check it. And obviously, my playlist title is going to be called Indie because most of my music were indie music. My top
Love
five
it.
were Arctic Monkeys, Radiohead, Dominic Fike, Paramore, and Bob Marley and the Wailers. Correction, because I checked the Last FM, which is another app to use to check your music for the year. And it was pretty accurate this year for Apple wrap up. So I'm pretty pleased. Last year's was kind of whack because I'm like, these artists I did not listen to that much. But
Yeah.
what about yours?
Yeah, mine's a little sus right now because Jordan Ward has to be my number one album. There's no way around it. But I said this to you, I downloaded the album on my phone, so I don't know if it counts offline listens as listens because, hey, love Marlon Craft. I just know I listen to Jordan Ward more than him, and I must have fallen asleep or something because I have Marlon Craft, like so many listens. It's crazy. So a lot of songs I didn't listen to a lot ended up in my top 100. But Jordan Ward, I Don't Care, and Fam Jam 4000, my top two songs, knew that was coming. And, we had the usual suspects. We had Freddie Gibbs, J. Cole, Mac Miller, just all the usual guys in the top five. But for my playlist title, I want to shout out my New Jersey boy, Cheek the Prophet, No Way Out, featuring Chris Patrick. This song's a banger. And we love our Jersey artists collabing together, coming together. And we'll talk about this in a second, but love community building. It's kind of an old school way to go about hip hop is building in your hometown, home state first, then growing out. Now you can kind of get popular from anywhere, but I think that's important. Have your home state backing you.
New Jersey seems to be cooking something because there's been a handful of artists who've been rising to the mainstream. And for my leading single, it's going to be Breathe by Lily Aviana, which is produced
Oh,
by,
fire.
yep, I know, by Reggie Volume. Incredible single. You haven't checked it out already. And hopefully she has an album cooking up. We've been waiting for a little bit, but shout out to Lily for that. And to get this started, Adam sent this to me. Again, I was working back to back, so I was a bit busy. But once I saw the message, I was like, goodness. So the song by Jack Harlow, we all know, it's called "Lovin' Me," right? "Lovin' Me,"
Loving on me. I
"Lovin'
don't
on
want
Me."
no whips, no chains.
Listen,
Hold
it's
me
catchy,
down.
but it actually debuted at number 2 last week, and this week it
Uh,
climbed to number 1. So that would be his third number 1 single on Billboard. The other two are "First
Crazy.
Class" and "Industry Baby," and he basically just started his career. I'm surprised "What's Poppin'"
Three.
didn't make it to number 1.
That's crazy. And it's three number one singles in 3 consecutive years.
Mhm.
Also
Wow.
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not this chorus is really catchy. The verses
Mhm.
aren't particularly for me, but I can see why it's number one. It's stuck in my head. I'm vanilla baby. Like that the whole if you want to talk about how it kind of sounds like the motto or it kind of sounds like truffle butter, you can. But I got to give credit to Jack's team. This is so impressive. What are your thoughts on the song before I go on a little rant about how Jack has perfectly executed his career thus far?
So first, shout out to Jack for using a sample that isn't heavily known. The sample is "Whatever" by Cadillac Dale. And usually we've been hearing in hip hop a lot of samples from previously popular songs that are sampled by the same sample. But Jack did something different here. And he's been doing this for a while now, having some good tracks. I remember he had a Bryson Tiller track on
Hmm.
his debut album,
Confetti.
and
Yeah.
Confetti,
It's
and the one on his debut project too that had a sample. I forget what it was. Maybe it was a single. I forget the
Oh,
song.
I know you're talking about. I was thinking about Through the Night, but that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about I can picture it in my head.
Love is Dro
Yeah,
with the
Love is Dry.
Static
Yeah.
Major sample. So shout out to Jack for that. And I'm not gonna like shade Jack at all because Jack is awesome. He's a great guy, great character, great artist too. And for him to make bangers is nothing new. He's been doing this in his career for a while now. If you didn't know, songs like "Sundown,"
Banger.
all those major tracks that people love. The song is good. The chorus is catchy. Of course, the verses are a little bit ha ha ha.
Popping.
He's
Yeah.
spelling it out. What did you say? Like
The JAC.
that, and it was like, if you're a girl, let go of that guy's hand and just
Yeah.
whatever. But
It's club music. It
it's
was
club
made for
music.
to go out, which honestly is rare. You don't see a lot of club music made these days,
Mhm.
I feel like, from a huge major artist.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It's also crazy. He has more number one singles than J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar combined.
So that's what I wanted to talk about. It's
That's insane.
crazy, but it's not crazy. It's the same reason why a person like NBA YoungBoy has more streams than Jay-Z or
Yeah.
Kendrick. It's I- that's the one thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Not that Jack did anything wrong. Jack did his thing. My issue is with Billboard. it shows that Billboard, and I know Russ was alluding to this earlier, there's something wrong in how they are measuring music because back then, number one songs meant something. They represented what everybody in the country was feeling during that time. And First Person Shooter, right? That was J. Cole's first number one single, am I correct?
Yeah,
That song, it lasted in the top 10 Billboard and it debuted at number 1, but it got kicked off a week after. So it's on there for 1 week.
yeah.
How does that
I
happen? When
think
somebody drops a number 1 song, it stays. For it to leave like that, I mean, what's that?
I think part of it is radio's not important now. So we do say that it seemed like songs in the 2010s, when they were a number one song, you knew that song. You heard it everywhere. So I think I saw someone tweet talking about Slide by Frank Ocean and Migos. That song didn't even crack the top five. Like songs like that you knew were catchy, it was hard to reach number 1, so maybe it's a little bit easier for randoms not random, but songs to reach number 1 just for a week or 2 versus back then, a song could be number 1 for a whole entire year and had a stranglehold on the entire industry, like, I don't know, "Shake It Off" by Taylor Swift. It was played on radio, something like that probably lasted number 1 for 6 months, versus now, it's obviously quicker consumption, and yeah, I don't know the shade there's shady stuff going on, but I don't know exactly what it is, so it's hard
Mhm.
to be like, "This is what's happening. This is why this song's doing well." Yeah, it's weird that it lasted only a week. Kendrick's album, when it came out, was top 10 after 1 week and then leaves right away. So, like, it's weird.
It is. But go ahead, go on your rant. Tell me what you have to
Yeah.
feel what you wanna say about Jack.
So I wanna say that Jack Harlow, his team, his management, whether it's Generation Now and DJ Drama or his close management team and friends around him, they have executed this career perfectly. And we can get it out of the way right now. Yes, he is a white rapper in a genre that was created by black people. Yes, he benefits from being white. And there are a lot of rappers who are white that want to sound like Drake and are not doing as well as him. So let's get into what he's actually doing right. Let's start from the rapping perspective. This dude raps, and he knows rap well. I've seen in interviews that his mom had him listening to Tribe Called Quest when he was growing up. He's someone who pays respect to all of his idols. He goes on all the major radio shows. He goes on Rap Radar with Elliot and D Dot. He goes on Sway in the Morning, who loves him when he's on the show. He goes on Funk Flex. He goes on Bootleg Kev. He goes on Big Boy. He goes on Cam and Mace's show. He does the freestyles. That's the classic hip hop stuff. He was performing at South by Southwest for 10 people. So does some people say he's an industry plant? Ironic that Industry Baby was his first single to go popular. But people in Louisville and Kentucky know that he took the really small steps of doing really small tours and reaching slowly going up. And what we were talking about before about that community building, his only tour this year is going on right now. He's doing 6 shows throughout Kentucky in random cities that we would not have any clue what they are because we are not from Kentucky. I haven't really seen another artist do that like ever. I haven't like seen a New Jersey rapper go to the different small cities in New Jersey to perform. He has all the Kentucky on his side. And then he drops a pop album. It gets nominated for a Grammy, but it gets a lot of hate. It's a pop rap album. And then what does he do? He comes back and he drops a straight rap album that gets a lot of praise, little marketing. He just wanted to get his bars off. And let's talk about he's really likable. I don't know if
Yep.
it's just a me thing. Dude, when I'm
Mhm.
watching these interviews, I am smiling ear to ear. I think he's really funny. Maybe I'm glazing him, but like I think he's just really likable. He's really funny in the Cam and Mace interview that goes viral. He never gets in trouble. His only issue, and we talked about this before, was that he didn't know that Brandy was Ray J's brother.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say he was 10 years old. It wasn't his choice what his mom played for him. I didn't listen to Brandy growing up. Maybe it's a white thing, I don't know. But like you really only listen to what your parents listen to when you grow up, then you're able to make your own choices on music. Otherwise, there have been interviews I've watched where they try to get him in a corner. They ask him about like what drugs he's doing and stuff, and he always answers so correctly. And I think Charlemagne was like, "You're answering this very well, these questions." Now let's go to the girl perspective because this man is becoming a heartthrob. He is doing what Drake did. And I was like 11 when Drake was rising. So I don't know if he was doing these interviews like Jack is. He does the number one girl podcast, Call Her Daddy. Like all my girlfriends love Call Her Daddy. I'm seeing it all over my
Mhm.
TikTok. He kills the interview. That Emma Chamberlain clip when he was at the award show where he's like, "I
Ah,
love you,"
yeah. Mhm.
viral. Girls love him. He goes on Amelia's show, the chicken show, where
Still need to watch that.
the chicken date videos. So he's executing the hip hop side of it by doing all the classic interviews and showing love to hip hop while also being a heartthrob and doing all the right things to keep the female side on him. if you go to a concert, it's a good mixture. It's not just like a female show. Like there's people that rock with Jack Harlow. So I got to give
Mhm,
credit to his team. I think we talk about it all the time. There's not many rap superstars left. We know too much about artists. We hear one thing and we're like, ugh, canceled. This guy, every step of his career, has done the right move. He even took a break and dropped an album with no marketing, bounced right back as another number one single.
mhm.
There's obviously different things to it. His race plays a part of it. But that's not many rappers are getting three number one singles. It has to be
Yep.
something he's doing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people forget, and this is like the Eminem conundrum. When you're a white rapper, everything is against you. Let's be honest. No one's gonna take you serious. Even if you watch Jack Harlow's older videos and he has like the really long curly hair, no one's taking him
Yeah,
serious. He had to flip the cards and place himself where he's at today. But now that he's on top, it's a benefit. I know Eminem said that in White America. First it was against me, but now it's quote unquote a benefit now. And you're right, he's done everything right. I remember he first put out the What's Poppin' video of Lyrical Lemonade. And that's
fire
what
video.
put him in front of
Yeah.
everybody. After that, he did Tyler Hero. After Tyler
Mhm.
Hero, he dropped the album. After the album, he did Industry Baby. After like he knows exactly what he's doing. And of course, shout out to his managerial team and Garden Collective and
Yeah,
Generation Now too. They're doing it 100% right. And I'm excited for this next album, honestly. If he can get a good mixture of like the pop sound, the singing with
yeah.
some rap, he's gonna be here. But I have a question for you. Do you think that he's a can we call him a superstar for
First, I
sure?
also want first I wanna say he also puts, so many artists on. He put
Mhm.
SG on from Kentucky, so just wanted to shout
Mhm.
that fact too.
Yep.
Is he a superstar? Yes. Uh, if there is one today, it's Jack Harlow. I see his
Mhm.
interviews get his the Dinkle whatever her name is,
Yeah,
Amelia, the chicken
Amelia.
show. I cannot pronounce the last name.
Mm.
It has 10 million views on YouTube.
Yeah.
People don't really tune into interviews as much as they used
Mhm.
to. They are tuning into this man. Every TikTok is viral. If you look up Jack Harlow funny moments, there's a
Mhm.
15-minute clip and it has a million views.
Yeah.
That's He's a superstar. He goes to he does the video for Churchill Downs at the Kentucky
Mhm.
Derby. Everyone's going crazy. He runs that state of Kentucky,
Mhm.
and
I don't know how anyone could hate him, honestly.
he's so likable. Like I'm literally like smirking while I watch him, and it's I think it's so impressive that he sings sometimes, but I gotta emphasize the fact that he is not a singer. I think that's the hardest part. Like he's doing most of this off of the fact of just rapping. Drake, if you want to do the comparisons, half of Drake's songs are singing and real singing, like R&B
Mhm.
ballads. Jack Harlow is not doing that, which I think is like so impressive to get
Yeah,
away with it.
and like you said before, he puts other artists on the map. You talked about SG. He gave Skilla Baby a shout out on the new hit song. Now people are
Yeah,
looking up Skilla Baby on the Nail Tech, the Southern rapper he put on there, the Bow
yeah.
Bow Bow. You know,
Wow.
that's what he did. That's important, and he's not taking anything from the culture. He's adding more to it. And I just wish honestly the best for Jack. He is that guy. I think he is number one, and
Yeah.
he's gonna deliver. Hope with that next album.
Yeah, I remember in one of his interviews, I really appreciated this, but he was saying how it's cool when a girl comes up to him and says, like, "I love your music," but he said his favorite thing is when a guy comes up to him and says, "Yo, you're rapping your ass off." So, Jack, if you do see this, you're rapping your ass off on that album. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And one thing too, that industry baby or not industry plant conversation needs to go. I mean, anybody who signs to a label is technically an industry plant. The
Yeah,
industry is going to put you there. They're literally backing you. They're paying for marketing ads and stuff. Like that's isn't that the whole point? Unless you want to stay indie forever. I remember
yeah,
Mitch Mula was saying that a lot of artists take pride in being independent artists,
but
but
they
most
have
of
to
the
be.
time you're independent because you have to be. Tell the
Yeah,
truth. So Jack is doing his thing and he's been doing everything correctly. So it's nothing against him at all. He's not an industry plant.
yeah.
Y'all need to quit that.
Yeah, people who are Jack fans know he took the steps. I remember seeing Sundown being
Mhm.
tweeted under other bigger artists' tweets, like the same stuff that indie artists do now. It was all over, and I remember showing my dad in high school like this music video. I'm like, "Look at this kid, he's fire." And I remember when What's Poppin' came out, no one really knew what it was, and I'm like, "This is
Mhm.
my favorite song right now." And then when my other friends started listening to it, it felt like I won. I'm like, it's always fun to watch an artist you love rise up the ranks and get that acclaim. It's like seeing JID right now with surround sound. It's like that's my dude.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I heard the song is doing what, like double platinum now because of
Yeah, I
the
think it's
recent
nearing it. It's
trend.
nearing it. It's awesome.
Man.
Like it's awesome. And I'm not sure if I said this in the podcast, but I think it's a perfect way for the song to have a second life because as a JID fan, I played that song to the ground already.
Mhm.
Like, I've listened to it enough. I think if this trend had come out when the song came out, as a JID fan, you'd be like, "Ugh, like, this is his poppy song." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But the fact that, like, I already played it to the ground and I loved it already, and now it's getting a second life and now new people are finding it, I think that's perfect because it's not like, "Oh, he made a poppy song to get, like, catchy." It did really well the first time, and now it's the number 1 TikTok trend.
That's a good point because every time a song gets too popular, for some reason, I start to hate it.
Yeah, it's like the, Steve Lacy song. 'Cause I loved it
Yeah.
when the album came out, but then it's like,
Mhm.
it's kind of everywhere now, it's a little bit
Mhm.
ruined. But if that song game but there's other Steve Lacy songs that are getting popular 2 years later, and it's like, I already played that song to death anyway, so, like, good for him.
Good for him. Shout out to Jack, man. He's doing everything right, and honestly, we love him. And another thing that came out too, of course, our first week sales still
Mhm.
important. You sent me a Joey Badass tweet, and I'll just skim
Yes.
through this real quick. But he just said, screw first week sales. They simply don't matter anymore for the simple fact that no one is buying albums. I mean, when was the last time anyone you know bought an album? We can all stream anything we want, but in order for it to count as an album sale, you need to listen to every song like 1,000 times. They're trying to
Mhm.
make it seem like everybody's flopping, but in reality, just the rules have changed. So that's what Joey's complaining about.
Yeah.
I agree with him. First week sales don't matter, and it's not just a hip hop thing. And I'll talk about this a little bit later, but doing this whole album, looking previously through the last 5 years, has really shown me that man, hip hop is still alive and it's still doing the right things.
There we go.
And it's literally every genre, every big artist. Beyonce dropped, her first week sales aren't the same. Adele dropped,
Yeah.
Kendrick dropped. All these big artists are dropping, and we're
Mhm.
seeing a huge chunk of what they used to sell not being applied to their new albums. And I just think it's just how the industry is going, streaming, the way TikTok is now the new factor. It's a lot of different things, but it doesn't matter anymore. It's not like what it used to be when Eminem was dropping like 1.5
Yeah.
mil in
That's
one
just
week. It
crazy.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought this was crazy if you saw this, like, Andre 3000's first week sales on this new album outsold West Side Gun's new album, which that shocked me
Hmm.
because people have been
Yeah.
waiting for this sequel.
Hmm.
It sold more than Nas's album, it sold more than a bunch of people, and that was insane. But yes, it does not matter whatsoever because the consumer's age of your fan base is really important in this because now music drops on Fridays, and people who are over the age of 18 or like 22 who are in the working force, they have plans on the weekends. So they're not really listening to music that first week it comes out. So if you're someone like Yeet and your fan base is more high school kids, they're consuming it right away and going crazy. Joey Badass has a more mature fan base, so, like, they'll listen to the music when they listen to the music, and Joey said this on another tweet, he sells out every single tour.
Hmm.
So, like, who cares? Like, his music, he has a set fan base that is so dedicated to him, so, like, why does it matter if these young kids aren't listening to him on the weekend? The more mature fan base is gonna bump him, and they're gonna
Hmm.
love it, and they're gonna buy the ticket, and they're gonna listen to his friends' music, and they're gonna listen to CJ Fly, and they're gonna listen to Nick Caution, and he's built this whole umbrella of artists under him, so yeah, those sales don't matter.
They don't at all. And I have a question for you, and I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit. These artists you mentioned, right? A lot of them, like Joey Badass, Logic, whatever, they built their careers before the huge boom in social media. Obviously, social media was
Mhm.
already a thing, but I'm talking about the peak we're in right now. And maybe Steve Lacy kind of did it, maybe Jack Harlow a tiny bit. But is it more difficult to build a fan base than ever before? Or is it easier now with social media?
It's it's harder. I wanna say that some of the artists you just shouted out came around as the internet boom was happening.
Hmm.
So I think artists like Chance the Rapper, Logic, J. Cole took such great advantage of the space they were in when Twitter is becoming a thing and they're active all over social media and they're building these and Mac Miller, they're building these strong ass fan bases. So I think they came around at the perfect time. If you look at those like old double XL lists, most of those artists still have really strong fan bases. But now, because that was before it got oversaturated with content, now I will say it might be easier to find your niche if you're looking for it. I tweeted about this, but if you know you make Dreamville music, there's an account called at Team Dreamville that shouts out indie artists that sound like the Dreamville type. Go to one of the tweets, look who liked the picture. That's your fan base. DM them. Be like, check out my new song. Maybe 1 out of 50 people will actually DM you back. Yo, nice song. That's one new person that checked you out. So I think there is a way to find those niche fan bases easier than ever before. But on the other hand, the oversaturation of artists,
Hmm.
you're competing with a lot of motherfuckers now.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
lot. It's a lot
crazy.
of people.
Hey, you just kinda have to find your own unique voice and stand out. That's the flip side of it. Yes, a J. Cole fan page shouted you out, but then you're like J. Cole, or this rapper sounds like J.
Yeah,
Cole, and you wanna be your own different artist.
yeah. I'll say, we've talked about this before. It's really hard to it's very rare you hear an artist where you say, "I don't even know what to compare this to." Like, every artist, you can probably find a root person. Like, I love Jordan Ward so much, and he sounds so
Mhm,
original. But you're like, he's from St. Louis. He kinda has that Smino sound to him."
mhm,
Doesn't mean he's actually making Smino music at
mhm,
all, but it's obviously easy to lump people in now just for the sake of, "Yo, you should listen to this artist. He sounds like blah, blah, blah," just to convince them to get the listen.
mhm,
But I'm saying more there's these accounts that are fostering very specific fan bases. That if you're a Playboi Carti type music, there are accounts that are only talking about that. Look who's commenting on their tweets, and that's your fan base.
mhm,
And Chris talked about this last week. You can focus on the grand scheme down the line, but, like, find out who you should be making music for and worry about them. If a J. Cole
yeah.
fan says your opium rap isn't good, he doesn't like it anyway. He doesn't like the best version of it, so he's not gonna like your startup version of it.
Mhm.
So find the people who like it.
That's facts. And even just looking at the landscape, and this is a perfect segue, who is the most influential artist of our generation? And just looking at the landscape right now, who we have sounding like different types of artists.
Mm,
Who is that artist or multiple artists that
yeah,
most indies are
yeah.
trying to, you know, sound like?
It's kinda like in football, they say it's a coaching tree, like, a head coach has a bunch of assistant coach, and they go on and become a head coach, and it's like a whole Bill Belichick coaching tree.
Mhm.
There are artist trees now, because if you wanna say Travis Scott is the most one of the most influential artists, I would
Mhm.
not debate you whatsoever. He is extremely important for what he's been doing. But Travis will tell you, Kid Cudi is the reason I'm here. He's the only reason I
Mhm.
make music. And a lot of artists will tell you that. And I'm sure Kid Cudi could give you a person that he'll say Kanye when they weren't beefing.
Mhm.
So, I think and then it all goes back to Rakim or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all goes
The
back
GOAT, the real
to
GOAT,
the GOAT.
OG.
So,
Mhm.
I think it's hard, but, like, yeah, Tyler, the creator, I
Mhm.
think he's been very influential with the way he built Odd Future and
Mhm.
the artistry he's made. Kanye, obviously. I wanna say West Side Gun, and he's really brought back the power in that boom bap rap, but then also other people will say that's Rock Marcy too. So,
Mhm.
equally, I guess, as influential. Who else? I think that's a good amount. Kid Cudi,
Yeah.
like the melodic, transparent, emotional rap. It wouldn't be around. Who you thinking? I guess, like, Future, Migos?
Future Amigos, I think, is definitely one. I kind of divided all of my influencers in terms of groups. One being backpack rappers, J. Cole
Yeah.
and Kendrick. Of course, people want to push their lyrical pen to the next level. Adventurous with Drake and Kanye West, and Tyler the Creator. Doing different types of experimental things within hip hop, new
Mhm.
sounds. Of course, trap, autotune, and AKA mumble rap. Future, Travis, Young Thug, Gunna, Playboy Cardi, and Metro Boomin. I don't I don't think people realize how influential and how important Metro Boomin was to the trap sound in like
Yeah.
2017, 2018.
Yeah, I didn't even think to include producers, but that's facts. I would say, like, Gunna it's hard to say Gunna's influential just because Young Thug literally paid him to keep rapping
Mhm.
and showed him how to do it. But I know what you mean. There's every single artist has an artist tree of who inspired them. So yeah, J. Cole inspires so many artists who want to be J. Cole clones, including myself. But
Mhm.
J. Cole would tell you that Tupac and Biggie and Jay-Z are what inspire him. And like it is similar rap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think what other producers I would say. Metro Booming's a great choice.
Mhm. I think that's the
Um,
main one for now. Because if you think about
Alchemist?
who's
I would say
Alchemist,
Alchemist.
okay.
There's so many Alchemist clones of making that type
Mhm.
of beat. Uh, Trying to think who are the Complex MVPs because they do, like, an MVP of producing every
Unless you
year.
wanna pick Hit Boy for all the Nas projects he's made.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you can say Hit Boy. I'm trying to think, like, also, like, who makes type beats. Madlib type
Mhm.
beats are always there, so Madlib has to be
Yeah.
influential.
But
Said
it's tough.
Alchemist.
Even if you're talking about the current space, I think Metro is the one who's at the pillar.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I mean, he's the one making albums that are Grammy nominated, and you could say
Mhm.
DJ Khaled does that too, but we don't really know how much Khaled does for the songs.
Yeah.
We know Metro's in there.
Mhm.
He's doing that
And
work.
And I also want to shout out Detroit rap. That offbeat flow that people do, and people like T
Yeah.
Grizzly, Sada Baby, Blade Icewood, Street Lords, Icewood Vezo. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of conversation on who started the sound, but the two people who put in the mainstream was T Grizzly and Sada Baby. I still remember when T Grizzly
Yeah.
dropped First Day Out. I literally saw like the widest of people communities singing along the first day out. So that's how big that was,
Yeah,
and that offbeat flow we see with so many different artists trying to
that
emulate that.
gotta say, that is not my favorite genre of rap music.
Yeah.
It's not for me. I don't
Yeah.
I see those artists. Hey, if you like it, you like it. It's
Mhm,
not. But yes, they are influential. There's definitely a
mhm.
sound to that. You can say the grime rappers. I'm not sure who started this drill, 'cause drill's been around
Drill.
for so long,
Mhm,
but someone in England or in that area
mhm.
made New York rappers start doing it.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know who to credit there for that,
there's
but
so many people who originated, but I think the artist who can pinpoint is Skepta, who put it on a mainstream level, and people from the
yeah,
United States or even hearing what's going on in the UK. And just some quick shout outs to I also think people like Frank Ocean, making that
yeah,
alternative R&B,
yeah, definitely. The high pitched
Beyonce,
voices.
yep, exactly. Beyonce, Rihanna in terms of making that R&B mainstream style for a lot
Yeah,
of black musicians out there. Ariana Grande is another huge one in terms of the pop artist. Have you
yeah,
heard of Tate McRae by any chance?
yes.
She's been
The pop
popping
singer, yeah.
recently. She's always been growing her career, like, it's similar to
Mhm,
Jack Harlow, and now is her big break with the single she's dropping.
yeah,
People are comparing her to Britney Spears because she's a great dancer, but I
mhm.
think Ariana Grande for our generation is the person who's been the most influential when she
She's been
dropped the Thank
huge.
You Next, Positions, those type of
Mhm.
tracks and albums. Yep.
Trying to think of any other singers I would say.
Mhm,
I'm sure an R&B singer would say SZA,
mhm.
just songwriting wise.
I think
And
she's
we talked
gotta
about this
drop more.
before, but
She's gotta drop
yeah,
more. Mhm,
bro, it's her someone tweeted about this, but Snooze is still top 10 in the Billboard, and that song isn't like a TikTok trend, it's not, it's just purely based on people liking the song.
mhm.
I mean, she released the remix with Justin Bieber. That album, it's good for that's how you come back from a 5-year hiatus.
Yeah,
That was
and
very
that's why
impressive.
and that's why I was so shocked that Jack even got the number 1 position because there's so many great tracks that are already in there, and you have
Yeah.
this really strong fan base of Morgan Wallen and Luke Combs who have
Uh-huh.
been on the top 5 for, like,
Yeah, that one
months.
song was there, it was locked in. I forget what it
Was
was
it Fast
called.
Cars or Morgan Wallen's
Maybe.
song?
The Morgan Wallen, was it the album? Something like his song or his album was number 1 for months, and, like, no rap
Yeah,
song could top it.
yeah. But let's dive into and I was really excited when you brought this up, the best 5 rap albums in the last 5 years.
Yes.
And when I did my research, Adam, I told you I was so excited. I spent like an hour and 30 minutes just going through all the incredible albums that we got. And hip hop is it's alive, man. It's just a bad
Yeah.
year for 2023, just one bad year. But
Yeah.
hopefully it stays up in 2024.
I definitely forgot some.
Mhm.
I didn't do as much research. I was just trying to think top of my head the last 3 years. What's
Yeah.
because 5 years ago, that's like 2018. That's a lot
You
of
know what's
albums.
funny? I think both of us majority of our albums are gonna come from 2018.
Yeah, I don't even know is that like is Astroworld 2018 and Swimming
Yep,
and all
come
those?
on now. Yep.
Mine are all just 2020s. I did not go back to those years. That Daytona, like, that whole year is crazy.
Yeah.
This is what I have. It's all
Mhm,
2020s. Forever Story, JID.
mhm,
It's Almost Dry, Pusha T. Off Season, J. Cole. Mr. Morale. Love for Rent, Smino. This is well, I guess in that 5-year time span, Alfredo came out, which is, like,
mhm,
one of my favorite albums of all time. I also wrote SSS, which didn't get that much love when Freddie dropped it, but,
mhm.
like, I love the album. Just a
Yeah.
straight rap album. And More Black Superheroes by West Side Gun. Or no, West Side Boogie, sorry.
Yep, Westside
Love that
Boogie.
album.
Mhm.
You were definitely about to name some that the one behind me, Call Me If You Get Lost. Trying to think what else is behind me. Uh, yeah, I think that's good.
Not
Revenge of the
not not the big
Dreamers.
steppers, you just skip.
Yeah. No, I said Mr. Morale. I said Mr. Morale.
Okay, okay,
Revenge
okay.
I will die on this hill, but Revenge of the Dreamers,
Mhm,
for its, like, impact of what they did all around it with the documentary,
mhm.
I think is a classic album because
Yeah,
it puts so many of those type of artists on, has so many producers, and it's just the coolest thing ever. They
yeah.
invited all these artists and they cooked up and made amazing songs. But what am I forgetting? 'Cause I'm definitely forgetting. 444, is
So,
that 5 years?
2017.
Okay, it's out of there.
Yeah, but this is my top 5, and this is in no order, of course.
Okay.
Travis Scott, Astroworld,
Yeah.
Mac Miller, Swimming,
Yeah.
Pusha T, Daytona,
Yeah.
Freddie Gibbs, Bandana,
Is that
and
5
the
years?
big mi Yep, I know, it's crazy, it's within
Wow.
5 years. And then, Tana Talk 3, Benny the Butcher, 2018. So 4 out
Real
of my
okay.
albums were 2018, Bandana
That's
was
crazy.
2019.
What a
And let me
year.
tell you, these albums and the albums I'm gonna share for my bonus, I just look at them and I think hip hop is still at its peak.
Yeah.
It's not gone down at all. I'm surprised you picked It's Dry over Daytona, but that
I
2018 year was special.
I will say I did not realize. we were doing, like, until 2018, and
Well, you
that was
said 5
included.
was it 5 years that you
No, it did
said?
say 5 years. I just don't think mentally I just
Okay.
thought 2020. Uh,
Yeah.
but I will say It's Almost Dry
Mhm,
for to follow up Daytona, I think the only skip on it is Rock and Roll, but some people actually like that
mhm.
song with Kanye and Cudi. It is amazing, and I saw it
Yeah.
twice on tour, so I might have a different personal connection with enjoying it.
Mhm.
I love Push. But yeah,
Yeah.
who are your
It mhm.
bonuses?
My bonuses, first, I wanna give a shout out to, of course, I think 2 of the best rappers of this decade. Of course, everyone wants to talk about J. Cole, Kendrick, and, Drake, but these guys, Ka and Rock
Okay.
Marciano.
Yeah.
They have been doing this for so long and at such a high level. I'm not sure how big of a fan you'll be of these 2. Mostly you'll be a fan of
I
Rock
like Rock Marcy.
Marciano. Yep. And
I don't know
it's more
Ka as
so
well.
on that Griselda
Yeah.
space. It's very gritty underground 90s mob deep hip hop.
Mhm.
And Ka dropped The Descendants of Cain and Orpheus vs. the Sirens with Animals, the producer. And then, of course, Rock Marciano dropped The Elephant's Man's
Fire.
Bones. So
Great
good.
album.
Mhm.
Quantum Leap on that album.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a lot of Griselda type albums I can name.
Mhm.
Uh, the Boldy James has a few that are great.
Mhm.
Pray for Paris I would throw in there.
Yep.
The Black I can't From King to a God by Conway. Is that what it's
Mhm.
called? Maybe.
Mhm.
That one. I think I had another one in my head. But yeah, those that lane of rappers is really doing a great job at consistently putting out great content.
Mhm.
That's like great music that sticks around for a pretty long time. Oh, Stove God Cooks, Reasonable Drought, which is
Yep.
executive produced by Rock Marcy.
Mhm.
He's an acquired taste, but I'm the taste. Like I like it.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
And I'm not sure if we mentioned him already, but I feel like we have to. Maybe in the influential conversation, Tyler the Creator. This guy
Yeah.
went 3 for 3. Flower Boy,
Igor.
all in all,
Yeah.
Igor and Call Me If You Get Lost. He's different. He's on a different level and on a trajectory to
Yeah.
maybe become that top 3 spot. And it's ironic, right? And this is where we can have this Travis conversation too. That 4th place spot was Travis. Now, to
Yeah.
me, it's Tyler. 5th, Travis. Now he dropped Utopia. How
Yeah.
do you feel?
I will say I don't want to slight Travis at all because Travis is
Mhm.
an amazing artist.
Of
But I
course.
think Travis gets the label of like this huge experimentation artist that,
Mhm.
oh my God, what's this album going to sound like? I think it kind of ends up sounding like I think we all thought Utopia was going to have this whole crazy futuristic sound.
Mhm.
And it sounded similar to Astroworld, similar to his Kanye influence. Versus Tyler, the Creator, I generally don't know what the next album will sound like. This
Yeah.
dude drops like a beautiful California sounding Flower Boy. Love it. Then drops an album that is not rap at all, but is labeled as a rap album in Igor. That is not what
Yep.
anyone was expecting.
Mhm.
And then he drops a straight rap album inspired by that West Side Gun Griselda type music.
Mhm.
So this next album, Tyler could mess around and make a pop album,
Mhm.
like even more pop than what Igor would be considered,
Mhm.
and it wouldn't surprise me. And he probably would execute it really well. He could do a jazz album. So I generally like he's probably the only artist where I'm like, where the hell is he going to go next?
Yeah.
Cole with the fall off, I can anticipate what it will sound like,
Mhm.
and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not what I hope it sounds like.
Mhm.
But yeah, Tyler, it's like what? Mac Miller's an artist like that too.
Yep.
What was Mac Miller going to do next? He was at the peak of his skill.
Yeah, and he was really on the alternative wave. He kinda
Yeah,
left rap for a little bit to do
but
the swimming, circles.
there was
Yeah.
rumors that there was a third album that was supposed to complete Swimming in Circles,
Mhm.
and it was gonna be straight rap because the song Programs dropped as a single,
Yeah,
if you know that
programs.
song, and that
Mhm.
was supposed to be, like, maybe a single to this whole rap album project that he was
Yeah,
gonna do, and I could talk about that for hours. He was gonna
I
be
know.
so much more special than how special he already was.
Mhm. I miss that man a lot. Rest in peace to Mac. And, regarding Tyler, I think he's the one who's carrying hip hop on his back apart from the big 3. He's the guy that everyone's looking up to. For J. Cole, I don't know what this next album will sound like. I know it will sound mature. If I can think of a
Mhm.
track that this album will sound like, I think of Middle Child. That was the start. Like, when J. Cole dropped that
Yeah.
song, that was when everyone stopped putting, J. Cole at number 3. That was a song where everyone was like, "Okay, J. Cole is on some type of wavelength that people aren't gonna be able to touch
Mhm.
him." And if he continues that for the fall off, man, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even for that song, it's not even what I expect because it's a
Mhm,
melodic trap sounding rap J. Cole song,
mhm,
which he did get into on the off season with, like, Amari and songs
mhm.
like that. I feel like he's just gonna be rapping his ass off, but maybe that's just what I want from him.
Mhm.
I have full faith.
Yeah.
I'm a stan. He can drop anything. He
Mhm.
can drop more
And I
kook
want
bars. I'll be on it.
and I wanna list a couple more artists just so I know I got them out of my chest. One being what's going on in the UK with Dave, Stormzy, and Lil
Mhm.
Sims. They have been eating over
Fire.
there, and they've been dominating for the last 5 years.
Trying to think,
And
do I have
then
anyone
mhm.
any oh, keep going.
Okay, okay, I'll keep going. Who else was gonna say? Oh yes, funny because the guy I'm about to say, but when he announced the album came out and it happened to be a collaboration project with Jay Z, this album has forever been one of my favorites of this decade, and that's Written Testimony by Jay Electronica.
It's good.
Um,
It's good.
yep,
He does
you know, apart
he
from
does
getting
not he
anti-Semitic,
yeah, he does not like Jewish people, but it's a good album.
yeah,
I mean, my problem with that album, I hate when artists do this. It happens though.
mhm,
If you haven't dropped an album in 10 years,
mhm,
10,
yeah,
Jay-Z cannot have the first word spoken on your album.
bruh, I don't care, it slaps. I don't,
Yeah, it's a good album. He's
yeah.
a he's a good rapper, fuck.
Yeah, he's the ultimate mysterious rapper, and, I think that kind of concludes my list. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else. Nas Magic, that was an incredible album.
Yeah. Was
Eve's,
Tribe was Tribe Called Quest, Thank You Now for Your Service, was that
yes,
5
I think that
years?
was 2017.
'Cause
Yep,
that album,
2017. Yeah.
it is so good.
Mhm.
For a group to come back 20 years later,
Yeah.
and it didn't get they didn't nominate it for a Grammy after they also asked them to perform at the Grammys because
Mhm.
the Grammys suck. How do you not
Yep.
look what's nominated this year, and they didn't nominate that Tribe album. That's
It's
insane.
sad. It came out 2016. Rest in peace to Phife
Oh, that's
Dawg.
way longer than I thought.
Yeah, it's, excellent album, and I know, Q-Tip was pissed because it didn't win, and the Grammys do this all the
It
time. They
wasn't even that they
invite
didn't win.
people.
They weren't nominated, I don't think,
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. They weren't nominated
and
at
they
all.
were
Yeah,
asked to
mhm.
perform, and it's pretty hard to I know Travis dealt with that too. Travis performed at the awards and then lost with Astroworld, so I
Mhm.
think he was pissed, which is
Yeah,
understandable.
let me include this too because I wanna say this. Travis has had an incredible career, and his whole entire if you look at his whole entire career, he's done it right. There's nothing he did wrong, but I feel so bad because
And one thing,
what's one thing? Oh,
I'm
oh.
it's a pretty big one thing.
Oh, I got you, but apart from
Also
that,
yeah,
in terms of
otherwise,
music
he's done well.
specifically, he's done
He's
well.
done well.
I just feel bad because I don't think he can go up after Astroworld. That album was
It's hard.
too we're gonna look back and we're gonna say, "Yeah, that was
Bro,
a classic album. That was a moment in
it
time."
is.
Yep.
Slappers. Hit
Mhm.
song after hit song. It is I was thinking about this the other day because I was listening to Can't Say.
Yep.
There's not like, this new Jack song, it's a different type of slapper, it's more of a pop
Mhm.
slapper, and maybe first person like, I don't know, it was a song like, every song that's, like, on that album could have been a top 10 song at one point this year if it dropped.
Yeah.
It's a
Man, shout
crazy
out to
album.
Travis. Shout out to these new artists. Rap is alive. I'm so sorry for the negative attitude this year, guys. Rap, it's just a slow year, and
Yeah,
obviously me and Adam, we care about hip hop, so
rough
we
year.
want it to be good. But next year, man, Tyler and Cole is going to be back. Those big artists are
Mhm.
going to be back. Um, it's going to be amazing. But let us know what you guys think of your top 5 albums, the most influential artists, and we'll see you in the next one. See you later.
We out.
Peace.
Peace.